Bite 1. A silent spark, a pulse in the dark, a whisper between systems and souls. Imagine a love that does not wait its turn, a love that does not knock politely, a love that arrives like a lightning strike falling from a clear sky. One moment life is ordinary, and the next moment everything is fire. There are no warnings, no gentle footsteps, just a sudden blaze that melts walls, burns old beliefs, and leaves nothing untouched. It does not decorate life, it redefines it. This kind of love does not shape poems, it erupts into them. It turns the heart into a furnace and the tongue into a river. Before there were verses, there was heat. Before the pen touched paper, the soul was already burning. And the flame that started it all was a man called Shams. In the ancient city of Kanya, a wandering mystic walked into the life of a respected scholar. No titles, no treasures, no shining robes, only a wild presence, bright as sun, heavy as truth. His name was Shams of Tabriz, and he did not come to teach in a calm room with quiet students. He came to break windows, open doors, and shatter the cage around a sleeping heart. Their first meeting was a collision, not a greeting. Shams spoke a question that shook the ground beneath Rumi's feet. The words were bold, dangerous, sharp as a sword. The answer did not matter, only the impact. In that single breath, the scholar became a seeker, and the safe world he knew cracked open like thin ice. What began between them was not friendship. It was ignition. Two souls struck like steel against flint, and suddenly there was fire. Rumi did not see Shams as just a man. He saw the light behind the man, the divine hidden under human skin. He saw a mirror showing him something he had been searching for all his life without knowing its name. He said lovers do not meet by accident. They were already inside one another. He meant that the greatest love is not something you find outside. It is something that wakes inside your soul and pulls you toward truth. Shams did not give Rumi love, he revealed it. And once the flame lit, nothing could make it fade. Then, one night, Shams vanished. Some say he was taken, some say he was killed, some say he left on purpose. Whatever the truth, Rumi was crushed. But grief did not destroy him. It transformed him. The pain that could have turned him to stone instead turned him to gold. He did not drown. He learned to breathe in the dark. He wrote that anything lost returns in another shape. He saw that the presence he loved had never truly left. The beloved was not in a body. The beloved was inside the soul. So the poems began. Not soft, not sweet, but blazing. Every line written from the ashes of everything he thought he was. He understood that real love is not a gentle garden. Real love is a storm that washes everything false away. It destroys what is temporary and leaves only what is eternal. This is love, he wrote, to fly toward a secret sky, to drop every veil, to step without feet, to breathe without lungs, to live without fear. Love is not the way to God. Love is God. If this first spark of the story pulled you in, stay with the next part. And if you want this fire to keep spreading, you can like the video, share a comment, and subscribe. Your presence keeps the flame alive. Bite 2 begins in the ashes of the self. Rumi learned that love does not come to decorate life, it comes to dismantle it. Real love does not give comfort, it gives transformation. It peels away every layer you use to hide behind. It breaks the mask, the pride, the certainty, and leaves you exposed in the light. Rumi told his students, "Die before you die." Not death of flesh, but death of illusion. The small self must fall so the true self can stand. There is no gentle version of this. The ego fights, the heart trembles, and the soul burns. But within that fire is rebirth. He spoke of longing as a sacred tension, a feeling like homesickness for a place your body has never seen, but your soul has never forgotten. This longing is not weakness. It is the first knock of the beloved on the doors of your spirit. It is the signal that something ancient is awakening. He wrote that wounds are where the light enters. Pain is not a punishment. Pain is the opening. When life breaks you, it is not trying to end you. It is trying to reach you. A cracked heart lets the light pour in. A shattered identity reveals what was hidden behind it. Rumi understood a truth many fear to face. Even in absence, there is presence. Even in distance, there is union. The ache itself is proof of the beloved. You do not long for something that is not real. You long because the connection is already there, waiting to be remembered. He spoke in images because logic could not carry the weight of God. He used the moth circling the flame, the nightingale calling for the rose, the drop searching for the ocean. These were not symbols of ordinary love. They were maps of the soul. The soul burns, cries, spins, breaks, but never stops moving toward the source. Rumi saw the divine in every kind of love, romantic, friendly, holy, painful. Every connection was a window. Every heartbreak was a doorway. Every moment of desire was a bridge back to the one. For him, God was not distant. God was breath. God was heartbeat. God was the fire behind every tear and every joy. He said, "What you seek is seeking you." The longing pulling you forward is the same force pulling you from within. You are not chasing, you are being called. The emptiness you feel is not an accident. It is invitation. When you ache, you are closest to awakening. Rumi did not worship comfort. He worshipped truth. He knew that truth does not whisper, it strikes. It does not pat your head, it breaks your shell. Because only when the shell breaks can the light escape. So he embraced the pain. He walked straight into it. He understood that to reach the beloved, the self must dissolve. To find the eternal, the temporary must fall away. Love comes like a storm, and afterward, there is only clarity. He told his students, "If your heart is heavy, do not turn away. Sit with the ache. Listen to it, because inside the pain is a secret message. Inside the emptiness, the beloved waits." If this part kept the fire burning in you, stay for part 3. And if you want to keep traveling through this story, you can like, comment, or subscribe. It keeps the flame alive a little longer. Bite 3 opens with a mirror made of flesh and fire. Shams was not the destination. He was the reflection that revealed the door. When Rumi looked at him, he did not see a mortal man standing beneath the sun. He saw light shining through skin, eternity using a human face as a window. Shams did not teach Rumi with books. He taught by breaking the locks around his soul. One question at a time, one breath at a time, one shock that shattered the scholar and exposed the seeker underneath. Their bond was not gentle. It was fierce. It was dangerous. It frightened those who watched, because it was not friendship. It was transformation. Some believed Shams was a saint. Others believed he was a threat. Many feared him. But Rumi did not fear. He recognized the presence behind the man. He saw that Shams was not a candle, but a torch. And when a torch is carried into a small room, the darkness does not complain. It disappears. Then came the night of silence. One evening, Shams was there, breathing, speaking, burning like a star. By dawn, he was gone. No trace, no footprints, no farewell. Some whispered murder. Some whispered betrayal. Some whispered that Shams stepped through a door no one else could see. Rumi searched. Days and nights blurred into each other. His heart was a storm. His eyes emptied rivers. But the man he loved did not return. The world believed the story ended there. They thought Rumi would break, fall, fade into grief. But grief is only a doorway if you are brave enough to walk through it. In the middle of his heartbreak, something unimaginable happened. The fire that Shams carried entered Rumi. The flame that once stood before him now lived inside his ribs. And the man who had spent his life speaking wisdom became something else. A poet, a lover, a burning soul turning silence into gold. He wrote that anything taken will return in another form. He wrote that the beloved never leaves, because the beloved was never outside. What once was seen in Shams now shone from within. The poems flowed like rivers of light. They came in tears, in dances, in whispers, in fevered nights. Students tried to write fast enough. They could not. Words poured from Rumi like sparks from a broken star. Every line carried both love and loss. Every verse was a wound that glowed instead of bleeding. He no longer needed Shams beside him, because Shams had become the voice inside his breath, the fire behind his heartbeat, the whisper that guided every word. This is why the poetry still lives across centuries. It was not written from imagination. It was written from transformation. It was written by a man who burned, died, and rose without ever leaving the earth. Real love does not end. Real love becomes. If this part kept you close to the fire, stay for part 4. And if the story moves something inside you, you can like, comment, or subscribe. Your presence keeps the journey alive. Bite 4 begins in the ache itself. Rumi understood something most hearts try to escape. Longing is not a wound to heal. Longing is a signal, a sacred pulse inside the chest, a reminder that we once belonged to a place without walls, and some ancient part of us still remembers it. He did not shrink from sorrow. He leaned into it. He walked into the quiet spaces of pain and listened with his whole soul, because he knew that longing was not emptiness. Longing was contact. The invisible hand of the beloved pressed against the inside of the ribs. He wrote that there is a candle in every heart, waiting to be lit. There is a space inside every soul, waiting to be filled. The candle is not a flaw. The space is not a mistake. They are proof. They are fingerprints of the divine, marks left by a presence we were born from and will return to. Rumi painted longing not with logic, but with images that trembled with life. A lover waiting at a locked door. A moth circling a flame it cannot resist. A drunk wandering under the night sky, searching for something he cannot name, but cannot stop chasing. These were not romantic metaphors. They were maps of the spiritual journey. Each character was the soul itself, hungry for reunion, and in that journey, nothing is wasted. Not sorrow, not silence, not confusion. Rumi wrote that the wound is the place where the light enters. The break is not failure. The break is the doorway. The crack is how the truth gets in. Most people run from pain. Rumi opened his hands and welcomed it. He believed pain was not an enemy. Pain was a guide. Pain was a teacher. Pain was the voice of the beloved speaking through the walls we built around ourselves. He did not see union with God as something earned or bought or understood with the mind. He saw it as something already inside, waiting to be uncovered, waiting for the ego to dissolve, waiting for the heart to soften, waiting for the soul to remember what it has always known. The beloved does not come from outside. The beloved wakes from within. So when Rumi wept, he did not ask, "Why me?" He asked, "What is this opening for?" When he felt the ache of Shams, he did not collapse. He listened. He waited. He let the wound become a window. This is the secret hidden inside every verse he ever wrote. Love is not the reward. Love is the fire that burns everything that is not real. Love is the force that takes you apart so that the truth can stand in your place. He said, "Do not try to escape the ache. It is the proof that you are near. The trembling in your soul is not weakness. It is the call of the beloved." If this part made you feel that call, stay for part 5. And if the story speaks to your heart, you can like, comment, or subscribe. Every gesture keeps the journey alive. Bite 5 begins behind the veil. Rumi never spoke of God as a distant ruler sitting above the world with thunder in his hands. He spoke of the beloved as something closer than breath, something so near that the nearness itself becomes invisible. He said, "I am so close to you that I seem far away. I am so woven into your being that you might mistake me for silence." To Rumi, the divine was not an idea to debate. It was a presence to feel, a pulse, a secret warmth rising in the center of the chest, a voice without words. He believed that the world hides the beloved in plain sight, and only the heart can see what the eyes overlook. This is why his poetry is filled with paradox. The closer the beloved comes, the more the small self trembles. The more love surrounds us, the more we feel our distance. The ache grows sharper. The heart feels too weak to hold what is infinite. But Rumi understood this ache as a sign of transformation, not failure. The heart breaks because the light is entering. His path was not built on control. It was built on surrender. He asked his students to loosen the grip of ego, to stop believing they were separate, to stop pretending they could reach God through pride and certainty. Instead, he told them to listen, to soften, to fall silent inside themselves and wait for the whisper that speaks without sound. There is a voice, he said, that does not use words. Listen. Rumi found the beloved not just in sacred places, but in the smallest moments, in the silence after a question, in the breath before a tear, in the space where loneliness turns into prayer. He believed the divine hides inside the ordinary. Every sight, every sound, every sorrow can become a doorway if the heart is awake. He used simple images because simple things hold powerful truths. A reed cut from the riverbank cries in music for the water it once touched. A wave crashes toward the shore, but only because it remembers the sea it came from. The soul is the same. Every longing, every tear, every moment of wonder is the ocean calling the drop home. He said that what we seek is seeking us. The ache inside the chest is not a mistake. It is a signal. You feel the beloved because the beloved is already inside you, knocking from within. You are not starved of God. You are saturated with God and just beginning to notice. Your task, Rumi said, is not to hunt for love like a treasure buried far away. Your task is to notice the walls you built against love. Fear, shame, pride, doubt. These are the stones blocking the doorway. He does not tell us to break them with force. He invites us to melt them, gently, patiently, like snow turning to water beneath the sun. He said, "Be like melting snow. Wash yourself of yourself, not with violence, but with surrender. Let the false self fall away. Let the heart become soft enough for light to enter." This is why his words are not decoration. They are not poetry for shelves. They are maps. They are keys. They are fire. If this part lifted the veil a little more, stay for part 6. And if the journey feels alive inside you, you can like, comment, or subscribe. Your presence keeps the path bright. Bite 6 begins on the road of love, a road that does not promise safety or comfort. To Rumi, love was never the prize waiting at the end of the path. Love was the path itself. Every step, every question, every tear, every silence was already part of the journey back to the beloved. There was nothing to earn, nothing to win, only something to remember. He asked, "Why do you stay in a cage when the door is wide open?" The cage was not the world. The cage was the self we cling to, the opinions, the fears, the stories we repeat until we forget who we are. The door is open, but most hearts will not walk through it, because the door demands surrender, and surrender feels like death before it feels like freedom. Rumi did not want you to become someone new. He wanted you to return to who you were before the world covered you in masks. Love is not addition. Love is subtraction. It takes away everything false. It removes the armor. It strips the ego. It burns the lies. And in what remains, the truth shines like gold. He used metaphors not for decoration, but for survival. The nightingale singing to the rose, the wave rushing back to the sea, the lover spinning until thought disappears. These were not stories. They were blueprints for the soul. He was not describing earthly passion. He was revealing the secret motion of the heart as it tries to return to its source. Rumi believed that even the smallest moments carry the presence of the beloved, the silence after laughter, the heaviness in the chest when someone leaves, the warmth in a memory you cannot explain. He said these moments are messages. The beloved speaks through absence as much as presence, through quiet as much as sound. He told us that what we seek is already seeking us. The hunger for meaning is not a flaw. It is the proof that meaning exists. The ache in the heart is not emptiness. It is the echo of a love so ancient and sacred that the mind cannot hold it. You are pulled toward the beloved because the beloved is already inside you, calling you home. So if love does not arrive, if prayers feel unanswered, if silence feels heavy, Rumi would say, do not lose hope. The journey is not blocked from outside. It is blocked from within, not by fate, but by fear, not by distance, but by walls we built to survive old wounds. Those walls are not evil. They are simply old, and they can melt. Rumi did not ask anyone to break their walls with force. He asked them to soften, to breathe, to trust. Because the soul does not need violence to awaken. It needs permission. It needs stillness. It needs courage to be vulnerable again. He said, in love, there is no room for control, no room for certainty. The one who truly loves becomes dust, and in becoming dust, becomes eternal. This was not poetry. This was the secret of every mystic who ever walked the earth. The self that fears death is not the self that finds God. To lose everything false is to gain everything real. If this part kept the flame alive inside you, stay for part 7. And if this journey speaks to your heart, you can like, comment, or subscribe. Your presence keeps the story breathing. Bite 7 opens in a place beyond names and borders. Rumi spoke of a field, but not a field of grass or stone, a field beyond right and wrong, beyond pride and fear, beyond all the masks we use to survive the world. He said, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I will meet you there. This was not poetry for beauty's sake. It was a map, a direction, a whisper toward freedom. In that field, the soul is no longer torn between guilt and certainty, between winning and losing, between being perfect or being broken. In that field, the heart finally rests. The ego is silent. The truth stands uncovered and breathing, but the field cannot be reached by force. It cannot be entered with logic. You cannot argue your way into it. You cannot earn it with pride or conquer it with cleverness. The field reveals itself only when you let go. When you drop the weight of the selves you pretend to be. When you forget who is right and who is wrong. When you stop thinking with the mind and start listening with the soul. Rumi said, "Sell your cleverness and buy bewilderment. Cleverness is a cage. Bewilderment is a doorway. Cleverness protects the ego. Bewilderment melts it. The soul must be willing to stand naked before the beloved, without answers, without control, without armor. Only then can the field open." He understood that silence carries more truth than argument. Stillness carries more wisdom than certainty. When the mind finally stops grasping, the heart begins to hear. A single breath in that field holds more light than 1,000 books, but reaching that field requires a soft kind of courage. The courage to let go of the story you tell yourself about who you are. The courage to watch your identity dissolve like dust in the wind. The courage to be nobody, so that the soul can become everything. This is why Rumi used images that feel like dreams. A moth drawn to fire, a drop longing for the sea, a lover spinning until the world disappears. These images are not riddles, they are instructions. The moth burns because it wants nothing but the flame. The drop returns to the sea because it remembers its source. The lover spins because the self cannot stand in the presence of the beloved. And the most shocking truth, the one that frightens the ego, is this: you do not need to reach the field. You are already standing inside it. The only walls are the ones you built with fear. The only chains are the thoughts that whisper you are separate, unworthy, alone. Rumi shattered that illusion. He said, "The universe is not outside of you. Everything you want, you already are." If this is true, then the field is not a place to travel to. It is a state to awaken in, a remembering, a lifting of the veil. The field is the moment you stop fighting yourself, the moment you stop defending your story, the moment you stop trying to control love and simply become it. In that field, pain is not an enemy. Sorrow is not a flaw. Confusion is not a failure. Every ache is a doorway. Every tear is a message. Every silence is a hand reaching out from the invisible, pulling you towards something larger than your name, your body, your life. You were never separate. You only believed you were. If this part opened even a small doorway inside you, stay for part 8. And if you feel the journey moving through you, you can like, comment, or subscribe. Even a small gesture keeps the field alive for others. Bite 8 begins with motion. Not the motion of feet, but the motion of surrender. Rumi did not sit still and speak wisdom from a quiet corner. He spun. He turned in circles as if the world itself had become music. His robe lifted like a white flame, his arms opened like wings, and his heart became the center of everything. This was not a dance for the eyes of crowds. It was not performance. It was transformation. The turning of the dervish was a prayer written with the body, not the mouth. One hand lifted toward the sky to receive. One hand lowered toward the earth to give. The body became a bridge. The soul became fire. The story says it began with a sound, the hammering of a goldsmith, striking metal over and over, a steady rhythm like a heartbeat of the universe. Something in Rumi broke open. He stepped into the street and began to spin, not in madness, but in truth. The world blurred, the self dissolved. Only love stood still. To spin is to surrender control. To spin is to forget the boundaries of the body. To spin is to say, I am not the center, love is the center. The ego cannot survive that whirl. Pride drops, fear loosens, thought fades, the small self vanishes, and what remains is the beloved, shining through every cell. The dervish dance was not an escape from life. It was a deeper entrance into it. Rumi felt God not in temples alone, but in breath, in movement, in the beating blood. His devotion was not cold or distant. It was alive. It shook his bones. It moved his feet. Every turn was a surrender. Every spin was a prayer. Every breath was an offering. His students tried to write his words as fast as they fell, but Rumi did not speak from calm logic. He spoke from fire. He gave verses while walking, while crying, while laughing, while spinning. Wisdom poured out of him like sparks from a burning star. He once said, "Be as empty as a blank page, so that something holy may be written on you." He meant that the heart must be cleared of everything false, everything heavy, everything that blocks the light. The turning, the burning, the breaking, all were part of that clearing. In the whirl, there is a secret. The faster the world spins, the more still the center becomes. The body moves, but the heart stands silent. The feet turn, but the soul rests. Inside that stillness is God, not a distant ruler, but a living presence woven into every breath. This is why Rumi did not teach by force. He taught by becoming. He did not claim truth with argument. He embodied it with surrender. He did not chase God. He let God move him, like water shaped by the moon, like fire shaped by the wind. The spinning became a doorway, a way to step out of the prison of identity and into the endless ocean of the beloved. The mind cannot understand this. The mind wants control. The mind fears losing its throne, but the soul wants only to return. The soul knows the path. The soul knows the turning, and so the dervish spins with open arms, surrendering thought, surrendering pride, surrendering everything except love. The feet kiss the earth again and again, saying thank you, thank you, thank you. The heart rises to the sky and says, take me. To whirl is to die without dying, to burn without smoke, to become so empty that only light remains. If this part pulled you deeper into the dance, stay for the next chapter. And if the journey has touched you even a little, you can like, comment, or subscribe. Even one small gesture keeps the story alive and keeps the flame burning for others who are searching.